The next few posts that I'm going to be putting on Facebook and Instagram is my recipe for chicken crust pizza. And just follow along. I'll put the measurements and what I'm putting in the pizza crust. And if you want to try it. It's phenomenal. Believe it or not, this will be like the third or fourth time I've made it. And every time we've had it, even Amy agrees, you don't miss the pizza dough, the crust of the pizza dough. It is phenomenal. All right, so just keep an eye on the posts when I put them up. I'll put the measurements and whatever in the for the photographs and the description. All right, peace out. Okay, once you have all that in the bowl, of course, you mix it like you do meatloaf style or meatball style until it's like this consistency. What I do is I let it sit for a minute or so to let the cheese absorb the liquid. There's no reason behind it. I made that shit up, so I don't know. But important thing to do now is to preheat the oven at 400 degrees and use a half sheet. I use a half sheet pan this time. I usually do 2/4 sheet pans because I usually make two different recipes. But with the price of meat and stuff, I'm only doing one recipe: hamburger, bacon, and pepperoni. Usually I make that variety for Amy, and for me I do sausage and mushroom. So anyway, when you do this, you take a sheet pan, smear it with olive oil, and then put the mixture onto the pan and smooth it out until it's flat and even along the sheet pan. And what I use is actually aluminum foil to do that, but I'm going to try wax paper tonight to press it down into the corners. I'll take pictures of each of the steps, and I'll post the pictures shortly as well. All right, thanks. Get it out of spread it out as good as you can and as even as you can. At this point where it looks like that, you'll want to go to a spoon and start. I'll do that actually. Okay, this next step is where you get a spoon, and what I do is I coat the back of the spoon with some oil. I also put some oil on top of the crust, as you see, and try to even it out. Let me show you what you do is, so I'm having trouble getting this to the corners. So what I do is I just use the back of the spoon and drag the extra chicken batter and I put it into the corner. While I do this, I try to scrape down the sides so I don't get burnt edges. When it's in the oven for at 400 degrees for the next 20 minutes, it will actually shrink in the pan, which is actually what I like, because what I can do is that extra space in the pan will allow some of the cheese to drip on that pan and get extra crispy. So it mimics the pizza crust really well. And if you do try this, trust me, you will not regret it, because you'll say, pizza what? And you'll be making this regularly. Okay, so let me put this video up, and I'll post the pictures of when the crust is done and when it goes in the oven. All right, peace out. Now, regarding toppings, I do make bacon, and I do cut it up in those types of sections. But I use a cold pan first, and I put the bacon in there, and I put some water to cover it. Let me get that into the pan and cover it with water, and I'll explain why in the next video. Okay, so now I put a picture of that in the oven, in the pan. So you layer the bacon in the cold pan, and I put about a half cup of cold water in there before I turn the burner up to medium. So what that ends up doing is evidently it's supposed to reduce splattering of the oils. But what I like about it is it allows me to control the cooking better, and I can control the temperature on the dial, and control the rendering. And every time you like every once in a while you'll wanna flip it. So it gets even rendering around it. So do a lot of 10. This takes about 8 minutes to do, depending on how aggressive you are with the heat. But if you're using cast iron, and you guys probably know more than I do, I'm just an amateur cook. Temperature control, so keep it low and let it render slow, because that cast iron, as you know, does hold a lot of heat. So I try to put it down to medium low. I'll come back to when this gets a little bit more exciting. Also, another reason why I like this method is you can control the rendering of the grease out of the bacon. So when one piece is done like that, you can put it on your training rack and let it go until you're done with the rest of the bacon. Be back in a second. Okay, next, when the bacon is out, throw your hamburger in and start browning it. You can keep it on the low heat because the heat from the bacon has retained in the pan. Just cook this until it's brown, take it off, and then we're ready to top the pie.